Hello and welcome to the DM's Book Club, a weekly book club podcast where we talk about some Dungeons and Dragons and discuss how we might include them in our role-playing campaigns. Oh, some wishy-washy hand gestures there. That was quite fun. My name is Fiona, and with me, as always, is my first and foremost, my sidekick to my hero, my warlock to my warlock to my paladin,
like warlock to patron,
my tiefling to my Asimar. It's a wonderful.
Wait, who's the tiefling? I'm the tiefling. I'm the warlock. Wait. Hey, sorry,
some typecasting here.
If anyone is the warlock of the two of us, we know who that is.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm joined by the wonderful lady in movie games. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm joined once again by my wonderful co-host Hamilton. Hello, Hamilton. How are you doing?
All right, just feeling insulted, but other than that, I'm fine.
You gotta get up the jives at the top of the stream or the top of the recording. You know how it is. Yeah. How are things going? Because I know obviously it's been a little while. We always say this. It's been a little while because obviously it's a little while since we've recorded, so it must have been a longer time on the podcast. But you have had Warhammer Old World. Is that right? That's come out.
Yeah. In the meantime, that's all out now on the YouTube. I need to do the last one onto a podcast. It's one of those things where it'll take 5 seconds, and I haven't done it. Classic.
Last minute admin stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But the YouTube, if you go to Theatre Macabre YouTube, I played with our friends of the show, Chloe, Tay, Will, and Dan, and we were GM'd by the wonderful Chris Handley of Darker Dice and writer of The Old World and also other Warhammer.
Darker Days Radio. Just like if you've done anything Warhammer related, he's definitely popped up in something.
He's there. Exactly. And so it was fab. It was really good fun. I think it's one of those things where we hit our stride on episode 3.
Classic.
It was because the first 2 episodes are our first 2 streams of it, sort of thing, and then it's the first stream of it, and then the second 2 episodes are the second time we got together, and it's definitely a marked difference in we're obviously all more comfortable with each other and all that sort of stuff. So we're looking to do some more, and I think the next time around we'll come into it. We'll come full. Headstrong into it, if you know what I mean, rushing in. I recommend people giving it the first one a good go. Just get through it. It sounds really bad.
Just do it. Get through it.
Accept that we're It's like any start of any adventure. You got to introduce everyone. You got to do this stuff, but it's a lot of fun. And there's goblins near the middle bit, and so that's always fun.
But Hamilton, obviously, this I think for the first time in a long time, you're actually a player. You're not running it because often you are the one running it. So I wanted to ask, how was it to be back playing again?
Oh, it was so much fun. I enjoy playing. I forgot how much I enjoy it. And I love being a GM. It is a fun time. But being just, it's weird. You kind of sit there and go I can't say anything right now. And I've got to, I've got to muzzle on. I can't. But it's the second time I've been, it's been my I've been player of the month because we also played in our Backwater Bastards couple of sessions as well. So I've had a lot of being a player, and it is a nice place to be. You get to just sort of just relax and react, which is quite nice, though as much as relaxing you can do. But it's quite nice to just be there and just watch and enjoy people interacting with each other, and then also being a part of that without feeling as a GM, sometimes, am I stepping on the toes too much? There's that whole conversation you got in your head.
Yeah.
It's how there's always that balancing act you have as a GM where I don't want to be too railroady. I want to let them do what they're doing. I kind of need them to get moving, but when do I make that decision? Whilst when you play, you can just do what you kind of want to and feels right for your character at the moment, which is always great. So
as a GM, you're always spinning a couple of plates. You are focusing, and don't get me wrong, I love it when players role play because then I go, cool, I don't have to do anything. I'll sit back and listen and then be okay, I need to do this. Yeah, it's almost like you're the tech person. You're okay, and lighting Q2. And it's encounter, engage. But
in an improv show.
In an improv show, yes. Improv show. But so I think it is always refreshing. And of course, we are lucky that we have, we both are GMs and maybe forever GMs and stuff, and we both really enjoy it. But it is so nice that when we do get a chance to have people run games for us, and I've had it obviously with RP Geeks as well. I've not run one of theirs since the beginning of the year. We've just finished up a D&D campaign called Mythic, and it's the first time for a long time I've played D&D, and I'm like, and again, it's been a while because obviously, as you know, I've been doing lots of different projects in the last couple of months, all different systems, all good fun, love that running stuff, and then I'm coming back to D&D going, God, this was really easy. Like, I don't have to think about it too hard, and I'll just do something, and if it doesn't work, I don't mind, because I can I always say the reason I love doing lots of different systems is that when I go back to one that I'm very familiar with, I go, oh, okay, I can just, it doesn't matter if I get it right or wrong, I can improv around it, and it's just, and it was just a joy to be back playing games. And whilst we always have our criticisms of D&D, I totally understand, like, it's like putting on a glove, oh, that's quite nice, that's so
and I think the thing is as well, what's nice about being a player again is just to remind yourself of, like, as a GM, you're very, well, I do personally, like, overthink that their enjoyment, and they're sort of like, are they enjoying what's going on, are they making the thing, actually realizing that some of the times when you're a player, it's like, oh, it's just nice just doing our own thing, and actually giving us space, and we're fine, and we're getting on with it. I think it depends on the players as well.
Yes.
And, like, very fortunate to have, like, very talented friends in all the people that I mentioned earlier. And so, like, me and Tay had we did some background stuff in all of us, and me and Tay were rival cult leaders. Yes. And, like, so it was just nice that I could just turn up, and straight away I've already got, like, I hate Tay as character, and Tay hates my character, and we're just giving each other shit the whole time.
Frenemy
the whole time. Yeah. And then, like, in the second episode when she's nearly dying, I'm like, I have to save her, and everyone's like, why? And it's like, because if she dies, who else am I going to have my vitriol? I need her. She's like, she's the Joker to my Batman. I need, like, I can't let her die. And also, she will owe me. How good will that feel?
Yeah, like, I love that. You're just like, this will serve my purpose.
Yes, exactly. I will save her life, because then I will hold it over her for the rest of my life.
And that gloating feeling is good.
Yeah, and so it's just fun to be in that situation where you get to play in those sorts of, on those emotions, and in a fun way. I was
thinking about my experience as well. So obviously, again, in our session 0, we did sort of back stuff, and for Mythic, again, I'll keep it too long, didn't read, because obviously, we've got other things to be talking about today. So it's all to do with Greek gods, although we weren't doing Theros, which I was a bit like, about, because I like Theros, the source book. But we talked about, like, how each of our characters is connected to a god. So my character, the Lady, was connected to Dionysus, which obviously is, like, the easiest one, to be fair. I know, look at that face, like,
god of wine and hedonism.
Exactly. Parties. So I'm embracing my inner Alexa from Schitt's Creek. That was the vibe I was trying to go for. And then our friend, who I think you've spoken to a little bit as well, Pip Gladwin.
Yeah.
He was on it as well, and he was like a chosen of Aphrodite, and he made a character called Danaeus, who was basically a guy who had a dad bod, essentially a single dad that had a small child, but his thing was that obviously everyone just kept falling in love with him, which is great. And also had a small baby in, like, a little strap around his front constantly. So it was good vibes. And what was fun about that is that we could play with those sort of, like, tropes of, like, is it truly love? Is it this? And so we had a really good fun. But again, as you mentioned, I think we only got to our stride about maybe 2 or 3 episodes in, and then we had 3 episodes to wrap it up. So it's it's interesting. I think something we spoke about before is that, do we want long 100-episode campaigns of 4 hours, or do we want, like, tight 3-4 episodes? And I think the conclusion I've come to from creating content for this last year is that I think 8 episodes to 12 episodes, because then you've got enough time for the players to go into it. And even then you could be like, okay, 6 episodes, that's part 1, and then we come back for part 2, so that you still have time to enjoy the characters, So.
And something I would like, one of my best things I feel I ever run, as much as it's like, I wish the reception, but it was the Bowies and Spelljammer.
Yeah.
And the thing that we did on that is we did a session 0 where we just played a game. Right. Which is something you used to do, and we used to have the luxury of that in the sort of COVID times as well. But also, like, one of those things where I actually wish we recorded it because it was actually good. That's always happens, doesn't it? But, like, also at the same time, I bet the benefit of it was that we got to have a really great. I think the beginning of our Bows and Spelljammer works really well, because it, like, hits you in the middle of an adventure, and then it does the time travel back and all that stuff, and it's kind of fun in that way. And, like, there was a lot, I got to edit it around. But the thing was, doing the 1 session prequel thing, which I recommend everyone records, but also make it so it doesn't matter if you don't have it.
Not
is
canon,
always really good. Because I did that with Dragon's Duel as well. We did one where we did like just a small adventure with some characters. I remember doing that. And so it was just it's always a nice way just for like people to just feel like they can test out the things they've got in their character sheet. They can figure out all those little squiggly bits at the corners of the rules, and also the little bit of like if they're new players with each other or just even new characters with each other, have the opportunity to figure out where they're, who's going to be the allegiance, who are they going to sort of have a slight antagonist maybe to, or, who are the friends of each other sort of thing, you know what I mean? The cliques and all that happen. I kind of wish, like, it's like one of those, like, indulgences. Not everyone has that time and availability and all that stuff, but it is something I'm like, I kind of get why we did it that time, because it was really worthwhile.
100%,
in that scenario. So
no, I agree. Yeah, it's an interesting time, and I think I know I'll blather on for the next couple of episodes talking about Last Live Rewind stuff as well, because it's now all out. But it's interesting how I've just done a session for season 2, which uses Call of Cthulhu, and I'll be honest, a lot of my I go to my notes on those things and I go, shit, I don't know, and so I let them play around in the first session and I go, oh, that's interesting. So I've made some notes, and I feel a lot more confident as a GM who, specifically for that particular project, has to come up with original content. And I go, I don't have it. I don't have that many ideas that aren't like, a ghost, or, horror. But like, sometimes the system or the setting speaks more strongly to me than others. So then I have to be like, how can I make this like scary? And I go, well, here's the trope stuff, and then I'll let the players do stuff, and they're like, oh, well, Fiona's got something planned. I'm like, and then they'll do stuff. I'm like, oh, great, now I know.
No, but that's it. And also, like, you've got improv skills, so you can feel. I think you should feel confident in that. And I think there's a problem there. Some people will be like, oh my gosh, but it's that whole. I've talked to this before in writing, and I'm a pantser, not a planner, right?
Yes.
That's what I am. And I think, and that's what you're saying you're doing here. You're just seating your pants, coming up with the ideas. And I will always admit, like, one of the funnest games I had as a player that is, was when you did the mortuary.
Yeah.
And you were like,
I was talking out my arse for half of it.
It worked. It bloody worked, because it did. It will.
It came out really well together, because again, you did some big swings as well. This is us giving compliments to each other about how good we are at improvising.
By the way, everyone at home, we're amazing.
We're really great. All right. Well, we've done enough, like, sort of self promo and self sort of like congratulations to each other. Hamilton, what are we talking about today? What is our topic of choice?
Our topic of choice is apocalyptic subclasses. Whoa, in a world when the world is dying, it is apocalyptic subclasses. Unearthed Arcana 2025.
Blah, blah, blah. Yeah. It's the Mad Max Fury Road. Everyone's there on a guitar. Fire. Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, yes. We've ruined everyone's ear holes. We've had this on the list for a while, and there's been, as you were saying, there's a lot of UA that has been flooding out of wizards.
Pumping out, It feels like right now, and the reason I didn't realise there'd been more UA that's come out, and this is like the current UA that is out at time of recording, is stuff like, it's revisiting stuff from like Xanathar's Guide, all that sort of thing, but these are 4 new subclasses that have a certain theme. The theme is apocalyptic, as we sort of said, but definitely there are sounds of those sort of calls of like, is this finally the sort of revamped bringing back of the Dark Sun setting to the new edition? And I've covered Dark Sun here on the DM's Book Club before with the wonderful Rob. It's one of those settings, and I appreciate, I'm going to ask you in a second about how much you know about Dark Sun. One of those settings, when I read it, I was like, this is very interesting, but it needs a lot of updating and vamping for today's audience.
The little I know is what I heard of you talking about it on this show when I listened to that episode. It was not a setting that me and my friends, again, as I was bigger into Warhammer. D&D at the time was Planescape, really was it that I got into at the time, and never anything beyond that. So I knew of Spelljammer. but I didn't really play that. So Dark Sun was a completely. I knew there was books because you saw the books because they had the more very Conan with the desert vibe covers. Yeah, I've read up on it, you know, from what we've talked about as well. The fact that it is a desolate sun. There's wizards, as the psionics come from that as well. The psionic arachnid elements that are out there, isn't that right? And then there's horrible evil wizards that are basically ruining the world, and then you're basically gonna die.
Yeah,
that's it, isn't it?
It's an unrelenting sort of desert setting. There's a big thing I seem to recall about the Dark Side setting is all about water, of course, you know, because obviously it's so harsh conditions and stuff.
Get your Dune on.
Absolutely. I think maybe that's like everyone's into Dune just now, so maybe we should bring that back.
It's that kind of thing when it was that era when they said like, hey, we need to expand the D&D settings, and everyone came up with D&D in space, D&D, but it's all about gods and belief, D&D, but Dune, you know.
In a desert, underwater.
Yeah, but what I like about their settings is the fact that they kept the fantasy roots of it, which is always weird, because it's like it literally is fantasy in space. As someone who watched Treasure Planet the other day, again, for the like 50th time, I'm like, you know, I totally now want to play Spelljammer again. But yeah, I get the whole point of like, I get why they did it. And I think the Dark Sun thing of being like, it's a fantasy Mad Max Apocalypse Dune thing, rather than it is just then like what a lot of other people were doing, like, well, it's Dune, but not, you know. And so there's something to be said for that. But I know what you mean. There is some troubling elements to it. That could be managed. It could
be misinterpreted or like I said. And so, obviously, as always, you know, please, if people are like, oh, Dark Sun sounds fun, you know, obviously go back. It's all on Drive for RPG and various places you can get it. Legacy content. So just, you know, just take care and all that sort of thing if you're thinking of using it. Because like I said, there were parts of it which I thought was really interesting and tells different stories. And the idea of like, you know, say, for example, you are captured and you are put into forced enslavery and then you break out. It's like, okay, but then you're in the desert and you don't have very much. What do you do? And here were these 4 classes, these subclasses. It's clearly that they're picking stuff around this idea of, how to survive in harsh conditions, and having that, the 3 ones we have here. There's one for Druid, one for Fighter, one for Sorcerer, and one for Warlock. And particularly the Warlock, this name of Sorcerer-King, that is a big thing in Dark Sun, of these sort of like very well-known villainous characters. I will say, if you read the Sorcerer-King Patron, it's like, there's no way you could be good, really. And it's like, probably going to be a bad. You're probably the mid-level boss before the BBEG. You know, that sort of vibe is what I'm
you are like, you are bad. So this is gonna be either a neutral evil campaign or you're reformed. Do you know what I mean? Like from being actually that's awful that reformed as a word is now completely ruined by that.
Arsehole. By that arsehole,
yeah. So you're what's a better word than that? You found your good side. Is what I'm
redemption.
Yeah, you've been redeemed. That's what I'm looking for. You're on your redemption arc. You're on your redemption arc as a Sorcerer-King Patron.
Yeah.
But I think that's always. I mean, like, hey, archdevils aren't great either. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like having a devil patron isn't. You know, so there's always that whole. Thing with warlocks, right?
I think it'll be interesting because ultimately, you know, when they put out UA, it's always like, oh, what's coming up, etc. And it does feel like with this one, again, the obvious signs are pointing to Dark Sun, and but like at the same time, when we were talking about those horror subclasses and whatnot, yes, and then we were like, oh, well, it's clearly going to be like Strahd revamped, and then we were like, no, it's bloody Stranger Things, which that's not going to do so well in the next month or so.
I just saw the headline.
I know,
for Christ's sake, can't people just stop being arseholes? Thank you.
Not if you're David Harbour, apparently, but
clearly not. But I know, but it's like, Jesus. Anyway,
yes. So I feel like there's definitely rumblings of like we're bringing back settings and we're maybe making it like we're seeing with the Faerun setting, the Forgotten Realms setting, which is coming out in a time of recording in like the next couple of days.
Yeah, I've already got the access to the behind the scenes.
I know. I was like, oh, I was quite excited. So again, I'm sure at some point we'll come together. Like maybe we need to do another travel book club to go through all the various. I know that's what I was thinking. Yeah. But I assume that maybe what they're planning for is that we're going to do more settings like this. So it's going to be like heroes of Barovia and then Adventures in Barovia, or Heroes of Dark Sun and Adventures of Dark Sun, because that's what they've been doing with the Forgotten Realms. So that's what I'm thinking is going to happen.
I can imagine that being a thing. And it's like, following a trend of at least every year having, they had Spelljammer, then they had Planescape, and then it's like this year might be is Faerun, and then next year it's going to be Dark Sun potentially, and then it's good to get these done. It's like the thing they haven't done yet in 5e. It took it's really long time into the 5e cycle to be like, oh, we should update all these fab things we've had. You know, like, oh, it's like they've kind of gone, oh, there's a closet here full of all this really cool stuff we've forgotten about. You know, let's drag it all back out. And we can say how much we like or dislike those things.
Well, we know that they are working on like an Eberron setting, because Keith Baker has been announced and all that sort of thing. So, but also then Keith Baker and his partner are also working on a brand new setting for Darrington Press and Daggerheart. So it's kind of like, it's all going on. There's going to be big settings, is what I'm thinking, like big new worlds, which is, again, I'm not mad about. I'm a big fan of like having worlds to inspire my stories. I just hope for new ones. That's why.
Yeah. I mean, like, we loved Ravnica. We really enjoyed the thing, what it brought to the worlds, and like and the sort of different ideas around factions were really interesting. And like I think I love Ravnica. I would love to play in a game of Ravnica, and that it'd be you're right. It'd be nice to see some more new ones.
I would hope for more, like, because obviously Ravnica was the Magic the Gathering setting, and we also had Strixhaven as well, which is another Magic the Gathering setting.
But I believe No. Is Ravnica one of the ones that was made in conjunction with D&D, or because Strixhaven was made at the same time for both?
Yes.
I can't remember if Ravnica was like already around and then shoved into D&D.
I think it was already. I believe it was already around because of magic stuff. But cool. But like, again, it got you excited about it because it was like, actually, it feels like a very rich world, and you could play in it. And I guess what my thing is that I'd like to see more settings which, again, they're up. I guess this is the thing. My issue is I'm worried about nostalgia, because we've already had this kind of thing. Like, I say this, for example, in the Dungeon Master's Guide 2024, Greyhawk. It was like, here's the Greyhawk setting, and here's the primer, and we look at it and we go, oh, I guess. But again, maybe it's because we're not inspired by Greyhawk. Whereas here we have, as you said, it's D&D, but June. It's D&D, but it's vampires that aren't sparkling. It's... So it's the Feywild. I don't know what you're referring to.
No,
but
exactly. Yeah. No, true. Yeah, there's always the I think if they keep it to one a year, I think so. That's kind of fine. Because it feels silly they haven't done it. It should have been every other year, and they should have done it 10 years ago.
100%. No.
And that's kind of it, really. And but you're right. I think there is the risk of it's like, Strahd 4, and you're like, all right, guys, we know you did well with that one. Congratulations.
We know who's everyone's favorite vampire child. Yeah.
And it's just when you're watching, like, you just see other systems which are completely like going wild at making new things. It's kind of strange. But then, as we talked about on GM's Book Club, one of the most successful Kickstarters recently was
Shadowdark.
I'm like, Mother Dark, Ship Dark. Shadowdark. And you're like,
Mother in the Dark.
That is nostalgia bait completely. And so, Shadow Shapes.
I think it'll be interesting to see where we go from here. So, let's look at these 4 classes. So we have the Circle of Preservation for the Druids, Gladiator for the Fighter, Defiled Sorcery for the Sorcerer, and the Sorcerer-King Patron for the Warlock. I do like how it's like, there's like preservation, nice, looking good for the Druid. Gladiator, big, strong, Conan kind of vibes. And then it's like, what about those magic users? Well, they must be evil.
Yeah.
They must be defiled and dirty, and they're unnatural.
Yeah. Exactly. And having been playing Elden Ring a lot over the summer period, there's the defiled god in it, and there's a character who's called the Defiler, who is just the most awful rot infested being, and it's quite funny. I'm like, he's horrible. He's just so horrible, and like I was just like, it just give me those vibes. But I was also like, totally out of the 4. Is that the one that Fiona would go for? 100% be the Defiled.
Spoilers, but probably.
Spoilers, yeah. Exactly.
And the thing to note as well, and I think we might have talked about it last time we did a UA. So those people who, again, I quite like UA, which comes with a video, often because you're talking to the designers. You used to have Todd Kendrick interview and used to be pretty good at doing that. Unfortunately, he was let go earlier this year. And they did try last time to do like a video with just as a whole group of people who clearly were not prepped and not willing to, and it just no energy at all. And what's interesting, since that last video went out, there hasn't been any Unearthed Arcana video. It's all been articles.
Well, Wizards, if you're looking for two handsome people,
handsome, charming, vaguely know their stuff.
everyone is home like, no, don't do that.
Don't do it. Don't do it. They're just going to be like, I don't understand what you're trying to do.
What's this, the TV?
So I did have a quick look at the article. I will say the article didn't have too much in it, which is, I think, a bit unfortunate, because I always find it really interesting because you get not only the personality of the designer coming out, but also the questions of like, so it feels a bit like X cultural reference, and they're like, yeah, that's what we're going for. And I always find that really helpful.
Yeah, it's nice to get little bits of tidbits of extra, and like and sometimes they say like, oh, we were thinking this but went with that, and that's kind of nice as well. So you see the potential options, because always it says at the beginning of this like, oh, this could be overpowered or underpowered. We're always going to work to get that balance, and it's always nice to know. Sometimes they say in those things like, we weren't sure if it was going to be +1 or +2. I mean, that's not exactly an example, but that kind of thing. Or we chose these spells because of this reason. Totally agree. So.
Well, shall we get started? Should we go in order? Go from alphabetical order? Yeah. All right, let's talk about Circle of Preservation.
Heal the world, make it a better place.
Very Michael Jackson vibes, isn't it?
Exactly, it was. The Safeguard Nature and Heal the World. I just got that song in my head when I read it. But
yeah, it says here, these druids work tirelessly to conserve natural resources and restore places once ruined by greed and exploitation. Through a combination of conservation and restorative magic, druids of this order shield and spread life across the land. The most powerful members of this order can return vitality to barren fields, transforming wastelands into thriving wilderness once more. And this, I don't know if you ever played whatever remake of Prince of Persia it was years and years ago. I always was a big fan of Prince of Persia because it was like, time moving back as a player. And your sidekick for that one was some sort of beautiful, gorgeous lady, and her thing was that she could make places come back to life and like restore the balance.
Right.
However, there was always a cinematic when you got to the place. You helped her up, and she was like, "Okay, it's time to do the thing," and she would just like clench her fists, close her, and then she'd do and like pull out her whole body, and this blue light would appear from underneath her.
Yeah.
So it looked like she just maybe weed out this blue light and everything turned into green. Yeah, okay. But it was always and it's so that's what I imagine with the Circle of Preservation. It's like 1 second, like some sort of constipated magic user. I have to find the cinematic, but
that is amazing.
It always made me laugh.
In the show notes below.
Yeah, in the show notes below. It always reminds me of that. Again, it's just a weird sort of cultural thing where I always plays it, and I was like, I have to save all these 50 places to preservation. Yeah. All right, I'm going to see the cinematic 50 times.
50 times is going to be. Hope she's had some Sunny D.
She's had some bananas. Yeah,
exactly. So it's amazing. I'm going to say off the bat on this is that, and actually, I'm going to say this a couple of times.
Yeah.
In this, the new things they're using, I like it. I like seeing D&D going. These are all. There's so many systems in D&D that I don't think are being exploited. No good word for it, but you know what I mean. As in to their maximum potential, in the sense of there's a load of other rules and systems that I do sometimes think that no one's gone, hey, we could take this system, this rule particularly, and then chuck that into a class and allow you to manipulate that rule.
Yes.
Like Portent did. I always think is a good example of hey, we do rolling dice. What if you rolled them in advance? That's a weird thing, and we're going to have this one with this cube and how it creates, making the aura a little bit more of a, we've done auras before, but let's make it all about auras as a thing is quite cool. And then there's going to be one later when we talk about manipulating hit die, which is something I've never seen anyone go out for. And they're Really great. So that's kind of what the fundamental is. There's a bunch of spells you get at the beginning in this, which are, as you would expect, circling around, turning, making things better in the world, healing the world. Yeah. So bless, lesser restoration, protection from poison, sanctuary. It's a good spell, sanctuary.
I love sanctuary. Best thing, yeah.
Underused. Beacon of hope, plant growth, aura of life, death ward, greater restoration, and hallow. Another great spell, hallow, as well.
Absolutely. All the thematic vibes, as you were saying, sort of like getting into this. So it all makes sense to me.
And then you get this preserved land, which is a bonus action. Love it already. Mm-hmm. You can expend a use of your wild shape to fill a 15-foot cube originating from a point on the ground you can see within 120 feet of yourself with revitalizing energy. Mm-hmm. Lasts for a minute or until you have the incapacitated, you move too far away, or you die. And when a creature, including yourself, ends its turn in the cube, you could grant the creature one of the following benefits.
Yes.
Either bolster, gain temporary hit points equal to 1d4 plus your druid level. Mm-hmm. I would have made it druid level times d4, because why not?
Yeah.
Or at least your druid level halved times d4, rounded up, because I think having a maximum of 10d4, which gives you up to 40 points, would be probably appropriate when you're at level 20 than, or 10, it's 10d4 at level 20. It would be kind of good rather than maximum of 24.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Or purify, you end one effect of the creature, causing it to have the frightened or poisoned condition, which is, which I think is quite cool.
I think either or is good. I agree with you on the temporary hit points. I was thinking to myself, maybe it would be like, every 5 levels it's like 2d4 or 3d4, etc. But I like you timesing it. I think that would be really interesting to do.
Yeah.
And see, like you said, see how far you can go with it. And like, I don't know, again, try and break it and try and feel cool because you have these temporary hit points, because you're going to be facing, not only possibly, big creatures in the desert, but also those harsh environments. So maybe you do need that extra buffer for everyone. If you don't have resistance to like whatever the sun's doing or the hot environment in some way.
100%. And also, just being druids in this setting sounds like a really good, bloody useful class, if you know what I mean. Like, create water, like all those kind of things,
I guess my question, and this is where I won't remember it till much later, I think, because you either get, as you said, purify is either frightened or poisoned. I wondered if later on, would it be cool that it expands to a different condition, such as paralyzed or something like that, or petrified,
diseased. Diseased as well. I thought was something that should have been in there personally, but like, I think they could have even just said it. They could say at this level anything lesser restoration can do, and at greater restoration at the higher level would have been an easy way to solve it. Then they wouldn't have had to write the rules down, and then you could understand that it's like, okay, instead of having to write down all the conditions and make lists and be like, okay, I'm going to add this condition, it could be like, it just follows this similar spell ability here, and then later on it follows this ability there, kind of thing.
Because you do have later on, again, I won't go into it because I know we'll get there, but that you get more powerful preserved land stuff. But I did think in addition, it says here for the first one, in addition, non-magical vegetation native to the region sprouts on the ground within the cube. This vegetation disappears when the effect ends. I like that. In my head, I'm like, okay, could that be like a third one? It's difficult terrain. Is it? Because I'm thinking like here, bolster and purify are like helpful things for your allies. But what if later on, obviously, it talks about like, we're gonna reject the desecrators, so that's like a bad thing. I think it'd be cool to have a bad thing of like just like difficult terrain with that. And you pick one of those.
Be like you can like infect the land, but not infect it because it's bad. But you want to be more like you can. Saturate the land with water,
drain it. Cool,
with water, you know what I mean? And then you're going to make from this, if you're imagining this desert environment, then it's become super boggy, and that is going to be and like really muddy, kicking mud. So it's still like enriching in that sense, but you're enriching it to a point that actually makes it difficult terrain.
That's really cool. So it could be like difficult terrain, and then later on, because I get it, you only get 2 for that one, and then the improved preservation, you only get another 2 there. I would say then, so not only do you, it's difficult terrain, but if you fail a save throw, you are stuck in that mud. So therefore, you are paralyzed. So like it's like
you have to make a DR 12 strength check to make a movement action. Otherwise, you cannot take movement this turn or something like that. Would be,
absolutely. I think because I like them. It's just be cool because I know later on it goes. There's one that's like a negative to your to the enemies. I'm like, good to have a few more of those. But I guess the whole point of this circle preservation is like it is healing, it is helping. So you're buffing your allies. But what if you could debuff your enemies?
I think what we're talking about is something that you can word it so that it is positivity in the sense of you're doing something, you're using your druid goodness of adding water to the land, but you're going to overdo it to a point where you're going to make it, you're just going to use it to affect, and the other benefit of that is it's also going to affect you and your allies. So there's a risk reward in that, in the sense that you're also going to have that problem when you're moving through that terrain. So
100%. You also get at level 3 Student of Preservation, where basically you have frugal casting. Whenever you cast a druid spell, you can cast it without material components, except if those components are consumed by the spell or have a cost of the spell. So it's like, okay, so I can't have my. You can if you I don't know, was it sending, which is like a copper wire or something. It's fine, but
if it's like lesser restoration, sometimes greater restoration sometimes requires a diamond of a certain amount
of a 500 gold GP and stuff like that. I'm like, I guess I think me being, because I don't know all the spells off the top of my head, it'd be good to be give me an example. But again, I know they wouldn't have that necessarily in the book. I'm saying that's so annoying. But then additionally, when you do cast a druid spell that requires a material component that is consumed by a spell, there is a 10% chance that the component isn't consumed by that part of that casting. I like that. I like the idea of rolling for, again, this is the bit where it adds a little bit more crunch. We talked about before about how D&D was streamlining a lot of things. I actually kind of like the idea of cool, on a D100, a 10 or lower, it's taken. I kind of like that. I think that's good.
No, I agree. And I think it's more die. And the art, you get an additional artisan tool proficiency
of your choice. Great. Fine. Cool for level 3. And then level 6, this is the improved preservation I was talking about. So it becomes powerful in the following way. So it has fortified protectors. Whilst inside this 15-foot cube, you and your allies gain a bonus to Constitution saving throws equal to your Wisdom modifier. Great. I like that. Again, it comes back to those paladin auras where you I'm going to give you a boost for this and this. So I kind of like that. And then it says reject Desecrator. So whenever the cube created by your preserved land enters an enemy space, and whenever an enemy enters the cube or ends its turn, that enemy makes a Wisdom saving throw against your spell save DC. On a fail, it takes 2d10 radiant damage. Its speed is halved until the end of the next turn as new growth rises to hinder it. But on a successful save, it takes half as much damage only. It makes it save once per turn. I think it's fine. It's good.
It is really good. No, I really like it. And I think you're right. I think this is them really getting into, sometimes I'm just they've really got into it. They've really got the idea of it. And I think it's fun. And set levels 6, I think that's pretty good. 2d10 radiant damage. I mean, not a lot of stuff is immune to that as well, to be honest. So
yeah.
I like it a lot.
I like it a lot. Then we had level 10, Facilitated Restoration. So this is where you can cast lesser restoration or greater restoration without expending a spell slot or requiring spell components. Holy shit, that's pretty good at level 10. Especially if you're going to be in maybe a desert setting which doesn't have much in terms of resources to buy your diamonds from. You can use this feature to cast a spell a number of ways equal to your Wisdom modifier, and you regain all the expended uses when you finish a long rest. Again, very typical of what we have in 2025. But
100%.
That's pretty good. I like that.
Yeah.
And then finally, Sacrosanct Land at level 14. The size of your cube goes to 30 foot. And in addition, when a creature you see in the area of your preserved land is hit by an attack roll, you can take a reaction to halve that attack's damage against the creature. I like it. I'd like to know how does that happen? We're missing a little bit of flavour there. I assume it's a big fuck off plant that stops it. Whips it out of the way. Just a little bit of this description to it would be really nice. So
we said that about UA before, that sometimes it lacks the description, and even just generally in the text they do it occasionally. And you're right, it'd be nice to have that, because they mention it earlier when they talk about the failed save and about growth rises to hinder it. So you're right. I do like this. I love reactions.
You're a big fan of having reactions to things.
Well, I've given everyone in my game a reaction as a baseline. You always get one reaction, because I think it should be I think reactive play is always good fun, and I think the more we have of it, the better. And so nice to see.
good start. And as I said, I think we go on well from here, because then we have Gladiator, the fighter, master brutality and blood sport. Gladiators are as much performers as they are warriors, whether brawling in underground fighting rings or fighting for survival in bloodstained arenas. A gladiator combines martial skill with the theatrics to awe and inspire their audiences. Now, and again, reading the designer's notes from this, it became very clear that we took a lot of inspiration from video games, particularly fighting games. And I was like, yes, I absolutely see that. I was thinking of when I played God of War, and I was like, okay, I now do this bit, and I now do this, and I do this. It reminded me of Kratos, essentially. Like, you're just doing all these big attacks and like swinging and smashing. And I was like, yeah, this sounds a lot of fun.
Like, as I say before, they've gone and used all the other rule systems they have available to them to implement them as a different class thing. And then this one is like properties, weapon properties is basically what they've done. They've said, like, here are all the weapon properties that you can add to weapons, and we're going to give you that as an ability that you can add to your damage as and when you want to do it. And I'm a big fan of weapon properties. Like, I've just added we've got a lot in our Forbidden Psalm, like, miniatures one, and I've just added one called, like, Spray, which is like, it's like a shotgun, and it does, like, spray attack and stuff like that, and you can just go bang, and if anyone's within, like, 1 inch, because it's a miniatures game, but, like, 10 feet, they all get attacked and stuff like that. And you can have so much fun with these things, and, like, bleed conditions are great. And we're going to get onto which ones they've chosen, but that's basically what they've taken as a fundamental. Is like, we're going to give you weapon properties as your ability because you are such a master of the skill of these things.
Yeah, and here's the thing, because I'll be honest, because I've looked at the new 2024 player's guide and stuff like that, and weapon properties were always like, oh my god, these are amazing, but in my head I was like, I don't know, I've got more to think about, which I know it seems really silly. Yeah. I would play the fighter gladiator, to build up and learn about the properties. I think it's a really good way of doing it, because that level 3, you can execute brutal martial moves with this thing called brutality. You can do it any number of times, but then you choose one of these weapon properties, which is bleed, bluff, or stumble. I'm like, great, that limits exactly what I need to do down to it. And then obviously later on, you get a few more of them. And in total, there's 8 weapon mastery properties. And I was like, actually, this is really helpful to me to be like, oh, and it will do this, and I get some more stuff on it. So I thought that this was actually a really clever way, because we always say, like, the fighter is like, if you're not sure on what to do, be a fighter, it's dead easy. I think here it's a great way to learn those those weapon properties. If you're like me and I go, I don't, just because and when I say I don't know, it's because it's like, you have activated the sap mastery, and I'm like, what the bloody hell is a sap property? And that is it means that the opponent has a disadvantage on their next roll until the end of your next turn. I'm like, oh, great. Or the stumble is when they topple, they're prone. The Vex mastery, which is the bluff ability, it means that you get advantage on the before the next thing. I'm like, great. That's really, again, I just found that really helpful to be like, okay, I've got these 3 things, and like you said, it works seamlessly within this subclass.
Well, I think weapon properties I really like weapon properties. I think they're great, because I think also it can feel a little bit sometimes too much like, I'm getting a different die type, and I might get a +1 weapon. I might then get a +2 weapon, a +3 weapon. Like, I'm upgrading the same weapon. But there's something to be said about bleed being like, if you cause damage, they roll a DER 12 toughness check. If they fail, they then take half damage again until they take an action to heal it. Or cleave, like, if you cut through one and you roll a crit, you then get to cut through another.
Within 5 feet. Absolutely.
Or render, like, you reduce their AC by 1 because you can go through armor or whatever those things are. I think are all like, there's such good things that just like making weapons feel different, and like once you add. It's like that classic thing on tables, isn't it? Is like when you've got, at the moment, all you kind of start off with is weapon type. So then you have like die and +1 to 3. So you've got 2 on the table. So it means your variations are so small. But then you had a third table of 20 different things, and it means you've got like 150 different variants.
Oh,
and then
God. My screensaver mode instantly. I've always said, as soon as I see like table or equipment tables or anything to do with combat, and my heart goes, no, I want to go. I just want to talk it out. I don't want to do this thing. But I thought, again, an interesting, again, level 3 brutality. It has 3 properties. Then later on, the emboldened bolder, sorry, brutalities, another 3 on top of that. So again, I'm always a big fan of like do threes on it. So that's what I was thinking for the druid. Then we have level 3 as well, combat theatrics. You've honed your combat skills to entertain devastating opponents and dazzling onlookers, and you gain the following benefits. There's something called athletic flair. Is that whenever you make an acrobatics or an athletics check, you gain a bonus equal to your charisma modifier, which I quite like. You are just this super charming, like, again, I'm thinking proper Arnold Schwarzenegger, Conan, like big beefy sort of individual, but like, look at that hair.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I just think that's quite fun. And then bonus proficiency, as always. You gain a proficiency in what skill of your choice, either acrobatics, skill, athletics, deception, intimidation, or performance. And again, you got that nice, like, it's not just you could be better at punching. Absolutely. You could be better at like dodging things out of the way, but like intimidation or performance are two different things, but you could use them similarly. Like, a very intimidating performance, or like, so wonderful, dazzling us. Or deception as well is an interesting one, I think, as well. Like you're maybe trying to say that you're weaker, or like look weaker than you actually are, or like you're much stronger than you actually are. I don't know. I thought it was an interesting bonus proficiency.
I think I see it as I like that. I was seeing it always more like dodging, like you're sort of like I'm going to go this way, but I'm not. I'm going that way. Do you know what I mean? That sort of deception. So like flourishing a blade in the right hand when really you're stabbing them round the back with your left. That's kind of what I saw the deception of. But actually, I like it the other way when you're saying like, oh no, I am falling over. But that's the performance thing, right? That's the performance thing.
What's the guy in Simpsons, is it McBain? I like that. No, you have come, tiny person. That's how I imagine bad deception rolls are.
Great. You then get Flourish Parry, which does really push on the performance element of it, which you stylishly counter-blows from your opponents, which I really see like as a moment. When any hits you with a melee attack roll, you can take a reaction to add your charisma modifier to your AC against the attack, potentially causing the attack to miss. If this reaction causes the attack to miss, you can retaliate with a powerful counterattack as part of the same reaction. Make an attack roll with a melee weapon against a triggering creature. If this attack hits, you can use one of your brutality effects on the target without expending a use of that feature. Once this counterattack hits, you can't use this feature to make another counterattack until you finish a long rest. You can also restore your use of this counterattack by expending a use of Second Wind. No action required. I feel it's great, but only one chance to use it feels really dry. Come on, guys, stop being like cheap. You can really give you that.
I mean, how many second wins do you get? I think that's the thing, right? That's to keep using it. But I agree. I'm just going like, give us 3, give us a bit more. No, I hear you on that front completely.
It feels like you're not going to use it. I think you should have it like you're allowed to use this 3, like what? Just once a turn. Just let people bloody use it. Just let me
hit the person. Let me hit them.
Let me just do cool shit, okay? Let me just do cool shit. Okay?
Yeah, you don't see, like I said, you don't see Arnold Schwarzenegger like, ha, and he goes, well, I can't use this axe anymore.
Yeah, I can't. Now I've countered you, but I can't counter you as well as I did earlier.
Yeah, I'm like, whoa!
I've expended.
Yeah, I've overextended. I've pulled my groin. I need to sit down before I can do that again. My back. Yeah,
it's just not. It's just not on, right? It's not how it should work. It's just meant to like. What I find kind of funny is sometimes find that everyone talks about D&D being like. Like heroic fantasy, and so many times like you give me less stuff to do than like the games that people go, it's so brutal, it's so grim dark, and you're like, yeah, but Shadowdark doesn't say you can only do this 5 times. It just says you can do this. You know what I mean?
And you can do this until you roll badly, and then that spell slot is gone. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. But that's it. But it's not like this. Actually, sometimes it's just mean. It's not even cruel. It's just like you have. Here's a really nice thing, but you can have it once. Just.
That's actually your Sorcerer-King from behind. That you can only do it once, my pretty. Then level 10, you unlock some more of the bolder brutalities. As we said, you get Rive, which is to activate the cleave property. You got Rush, which is push, ironically, and then Stagger, which is the slow. So again, just adding these master properties in addition to...
Rush gives you the sort of, also the evade condition, the sort of like a dodge, disarm condition where you can like, ability where you can sort of push past and then not, and move to your speed without provoking an opportunity attacks, which is...
And it says here as well, so you can activate these three in addition to a different master property. Oh, it says that for all of them, So you can actually combine them, I think is the thing. Like, so that's pretty cool as well. So again, it's maybe thinking about it, like how would you combine, say, if you had a property of like, you did have like an activate sap property on one thing, but then you also had the stagger. Like, okay, does that work together? And just interesting things. I thought
I do like that. I also like the slow one because it kind of makes me think of like you kind of winded them or something like that as well. It kind of works quite, you know, like, and they get disadvantage on the next saving throw, which I think is cool. It's like fun little things. The brutal resurgence is sort of like it's like a sort of like a mini version of other things where it's like you use your second wind and you regain hit points. To regain hit points, you regain it. Whenever you use your second wind to regain hit points, you regain an expended use of brutality. You also regain an expended use of brutality whenever you use your action surge. So it's just kind of like, here's some more opportunities to use this.
To get certain resources back. Yeah, but that makes sense. Again, in my head here, brutality is a sort of very weaker form of rage for barbarians. So that again, easy enough for me to go like, oh, so that's how that would work. Great. So again, I would I know I'm very boring, but I'm like, oh, I can play this. And then it unlocks how to play other classes by doing so. I think it's good. And then finally, level 18, mutilate. When you hit a bloodied creature, so that's obviously a target that's like under half its health. With an attack roll, you can attempt to critically injure it. The target must make a Constitution saving throw, which is 8 plus your Constitution plus your Charisma modifier and proficiency bonus. And if they fail, suffers the following effects: maimed, which is that if the target takes any attack action, it can only make one attack. Which again, later on at level 18, big deal. And then and sluggish as well, so its target speed is halved. It has a -2 penalty to its armor class, and
that can be a massive deal.
That's great. These effects last until the target regains hit points. So presumably, if somebody heals it or it takes a potion or something like that. Once it's failed its saving throw against this feature, you can't use it again to a long rest. Great, interesting. I will say, I would like another thing that would like comes in threes. That's just my big thing. But also, I don't know. Like I feel like it's the bloodied thing, and maybe it's just me, and I don't know if you played with it at all. Like, because people will be like, "Oh, how many hit points does it have?" And you're like, "Oh, it's under half." Like, I think it's for us. We are more immersed in it. It goes, "Oh, it looks beaten up," but that doesn't tell you like, "Oh, it's got 50 out of 100 hit points." You know what I mean? So I feel like
I will say the creature's bloodied. I will use that terminology.
I think that's better than
use it, and I think that's what I would say. And I would say, the creature's looking bloodied and battered or something like that, or it's looking, I clearly try and put that wording in just so that it's clear that they know the terminology's there.
I think that's the better thing because. My not pet peeve, but that's that sort of thing when people are like, how's it looking? Is it like low health? Is it this? And it's like getting those numbers and those game terms breaks the immersion for me. So I agree. You have to be like, it looks bloodied, and then the players can go, under half health, okay, and keep that theatre of the mind.
I think the other thing that you could do from the mutilate one, if you're thinking for a third one, is that these cover very much like movement, attack, armor class, which is great. It'd be great if there was like
something for magic.
You can damage its magic, exactly. That's what I was going to say, which I think could be like you crush their hands. They're unable to do semantic things, so like they have disadvantage on casting rolls for the next thing, which could be a really simple one of like, or they lose their spell casting DC is reduced by 2 or something like that. So
disadvantage on concentration spells,
exactly,
or something
along those lines, because it's like,
I agree.
Dazed would be a good one. You could be like, you've dazed them, and that means disadvantage on concentration spells and ability to cast magic requires is got a +2 to their casting roll required DR and a -2 to their saving throw DC.
Yeah, I agree.
And that could be a fun one, and that makes it. And then also like presence checks are disadvantage or something as well. Like you could have as well like a blinded. You could do like a blinded one or something like that as well,
like
which is
deafened, like have
deafened, blinded, deafened. Exactly. They've got -2 to presence checks and and you could also do the armor class one because they can't really see what's going on or something like that, or disadvantaged.
I love the fact that you've been so in with the Wraithborn stuff that you've been working at. You saying presence checks. I'm like, it's D&D. No, I love it. I was like, yeah. So I think
there are presence checks as well. Like,
kind of.
There's presence, isn't it? You for stealth, you do presence checks.
Oh, I guess. Yeah. I always think presence checks is like, haha, I'm here.
Wisdom presence. I mean, wisdom's presence checks.
But I think, like I said, I like. I think Gladiator, again, whilst it may seem simple, I think it does the job, and I can see it like really working. And we talked about all the different types of like different ADHD stuff. I'm the person that does the same thing over and over again when I'm playing my characters. I was like, Gladiator, done, can do that easy enough.
This one's easily done. Yeah, it's very true. But here we go to probably yours and actually my favorite.
Yes,
class.
I knew it. Don't put me on as like Queen of Horror. I see you, Prince of Darkness.
Yeah, I know. I'm here having a way. But this is really...
Someone who creates a book called Wraithborn. I see you.
This is full of all these horrific things. I know. It's different there. It's like...
It's different. I'm not like you.
Different horror.
Hamilton, I am your father.
Yeah, exactly. But it's... I think the thing that I like doubly about this, I like the cursedness of it, but I also like the mechanics of it as well. I think it's really well put together in that sense, just because, well, let's say the Defiled Sorcerer is your innate power siphons life essence from the surrounding world. At your command, creatures grow sick and plants wither to husks. You draw power from the corruption of life itself, draining vitality to fuel destructive magics. It's fun.
Badass,
Badass. Level 3, we're such edgelords, it's ridiculous. Like, ridiculous, so sad. Defile and Empower, which is the level 3. Once per turn, when you roll damage for a spell you cast using a spell slot, you can siphon your life energy into the spell and empower it. Roll a number of your unexpended hit point dice up to a number equal to half the level a spell slot, extended, rounded up, minimum 1 die, because I love that, and add the total rolled to 1 damage roll of the spell. Those hit point dice are then expended.
I love this. I think it's so cool.
Oh, good.
Like, again, that idea of like, I'm just going to chance it all and just dump everything into it, and you're like, cool, like you managed to win the fight, but it's going to take you another like couple of hours. Like you got to keep going. And so it's like that I'm gonna
but I like how it's not your physical hit points you have now, it's the potential of hit points you have,
100%.
Which I think is like, oh yes, because otherwise, I was reading it going, oh, you're going to take my health away. Oh, okay, I've seen this before. I'm having to balance my health. And it's like, no, you can still keep the health in this fight. You're risking it on your future potential.
Yeah, because again, it feels very thematic because you're spending, you're exhausted, and you then go to like, it's time to do a short rest. And you go, well, I don't rest that easily because I need to sit down properly. I need a proper long rest. Love it. I think it's cool. And just to say with
better.
Oh, it does. But it says in the designer notes as well, there's a lot of ways you can represent this life energy as a game mechanic, and we wanted to use the subclass as an opportunity to explore alternative uses and approaches to one such mechanic, which is the hit point dice. And I actually and this is like, I think for the first time, and you said it as well, like obviously we've not seen this before necessarily in 5th edition. I love it. It gets me excited because then I'm like, what else can we do? And it's kind of, it feels like that innovative, like, well, we're going to try this. Will it end up in the Dark Souls stuff? I don't know, but I kind of like it.
I love it a lot. And I'm like, can we make artisan tools useful? It's like, what can we do with that? Can someone make mechanics with artisan tools? No, I agree. And that's the thing. That's what I'm loving about it, because it's showing like people thinking outside the box. And as I said, there is now hundreds more of these things that they could go and find now if they really want to look for it and find these things to play on. But it gets even better because it has life steal. So instead of drawing on your own life force when you use this feature, you can try to steal life from another creature you see within 30 feet of yourself. That creature makes a Constitution saving throw against your spell save DC. Creatures that have the immunity to the exhaustion condition automatically succeed. But on a failed save, in place of rolling your hit point dice, roll a number of the creature's unexpended hit point dice up to a number equal to same up to half. Then you add that total to the damage. Once a creature fails its save against lifesteal, you cannot use it again until you finish a long rest unless you expend 3 sorcery points. No action to restore your use of it. Again, I find it depressing. You only get 1 chance at it. And it explains how monsters would have hit point dice here.
Yes.
And it says the size number of a monster's hit point dice are typically denoted the monster's stat block, as it will normally say, like, roll 4d6 to determine its health, to the HP. So that means that 1d6 would be its hit dice. And you assume that it has all of those hit dice available at the beginning of any fight.
Makes sense. It makes it easier for the GM to be like, yeah, okay.
But I'm like, that is so cool. I think that is just beyond, like, really fun, because also imagine it's bending up to half the level of slot expended, roll it down, so you can have up to number equal half the level. So what is it? Hit dice are normally 1 per level, aren't they? So if you're at level 20, you'd have 10 available to you. So if you're a sorcerer, that could be 10d6. I think they have 6, aren't they, sorcerers?
Something like that, yes, yeah.
There might be an 8. I can't remember if they're an 8 or 6 off the my head, but 6. I think all the spellcasters are 6, aren't they? But they're super spellcasters, that is. And then, but the thing is, if you have like a dragon, which is probably a D10 or something like that, and you're stealing its life energy, and you've got a pretty wicked spell save DC, you could be like adding half of your like 10d8 or maybe even 10d10 onto it. And doing that to level 20 could be super like wild.
It would depend on like the spell slot being extended as the only thing. So it's up to half the spell slot expended.
Oh, the level of slot expended, not your. I thought it was your level.
No. So like what level?
Like 5 rounded up, isn't it? Yeah.
Which is still pretty
5d10.
brutal. 5d10.
That's pretty good. I'd take it.
Yeah, again, because you could just imagine if it was something like, I'm going to do Contagion, this level 9 spell that you have.
Yeah.
You do the thing on it, and you could just describe how using its own like health against itself as it starts to wither and like corrupt from within.
Amazing. Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah. So yeah, no, I like it. I agree with you though. Like, it's a shame you can't life steal again until you finish long rest unless you expend the sorcery points.
Using your own hit dice and just being like vampiric touch, and you're like, my vampiric touch is fucking badass, because I'm additionally adding level 5 half, so rounded up, that's 3. I'm adding 3d6 onto vampiric touch. That's like
pretty good.
Cool.
But I do like also, and maybe this is really obvious, but I like the fact how it's guaranteed that you can use your own hit dice, because obviously that's guaranteed, but it's not guaranteed that you could use someone else's hit die.
I agree.
I think that makes sense to me, because otherwise I can imagine if you're gonna roll it and then your body's like, no, stop, I resist.
Yeah, I know, but I like how, but it does also have they have to make a save against your spell save DC. So that sort of already kind of negates the overuse of it in some respects. I just think like let them do it. Let them do it.
Have fun.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, as you said, level 3, we also get some other spells, again, all in the same sort of vibes of this Defiler stuff. So we have, like, level 3, blindness / deafness, inflict wounds, one of my favourite, like, low-level spells.
Great early spell level, totally.
Ray of enfeeblement, ray
Both
of sickness.
Good.
Right, yeah. Bestow curse, vampiric touch, your favourite. Blight, hallucinatory terrain, anti-life shell, and contagion. So yeah, again, all that defiling, the rot, the corruption. Yes, delicious. Tick, tick, tick. Then you have level 6, corrupted caster. You learn further ways to tap into the corrupting magics within yourself, granting the following benefits. So you have 2 here again. You have Defiler's Ward, which is when you take a bonus action to transform sorcerer's points into a spell slot. You can wreath your body in a protective web of defiling energy, which I think is really great. Again, it's like quick defensive thing on that. So you roll a number of d6 equal to the spell, the level of the spell slot created, and this gives you temporary hit points equal to the total rolled. When a creature hits you with a melee attack roll, whilst you have these temporary hit points, the creature takes necrotic or poison damage, your choice, equal to your charisma modifier.
It's so good. So good. I love a good wreathed weapon. Armor of Agathis is one of my favorite spells as well. I love that spell. You get hit, it deals damage back. It's always a fun spell. I like applying those things in the games I'm doing, so I think that's good. I like how they're separate things as well. You gain these temporary hit points, and we're not going to use those. We're going to just use your charisma modifier to constant. I thought that's what it was going to say. You get these temporary hit points, and you can use those to give them back. It's like, no, you've got those temporary hit points. Whilst you have those, you're going to also give this like additional little bit of damage on top of it, and I think that's really good.
And on top of that, it says damage dealt by your sorcery spells and sorcerer's features. So including this one, ignores resistance to necrotic and poison damage.
Yes. Yes.
Finally, those
hitting the air.
Finally, those poisoned horrible trolls, and like, oh, not for me. You're like, oh no, Uno Reverso, you do get poison, you
100%.
buggers. Oh, you love it. Yes,
100%.
Big fan.
You love to see it. Love to see it, indeed.
I guess the only thing I would say is obviously later on, there's like immunity stuff that could happen.
That's kind of fair, but I'd like if it said it turns immunity to resistance.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I think later on it's like it is just so potent that you're like your body just can't take it. You are the toxic Avenger.
You are the toxic Avenger. Exactly. I really want to make a rot. I've got rot monsters in my game, but I haven't got a rot based class because I haven't really. I've got a wild class, but I want to make a rot variant of it, and I'm like, I'll leave it for another day. But I want to really just like revel in the rot because I think it's fun.
Absolutely.
Withering Aura is cool as well. When you use your innate sorcery, an aura of defiling magic fills a 15-foot emanation originating from you while your innate sorcery is active, granting you the following additional benefits. Defiling Shroud. When an enemy within the aura hits you with an attack roll, you can reduce that attack's total damage against you. The reduction equals your charisma modifier.
That idea of someone like coming to attack you and you put it in and go, oh my god, that smell! Like, what? Yeah, exactly.
I just kind of saw it like you've got a thick, sickly, rotting jelly over your skin.
Oh no! So, this gelatinousness, like the slime.
His internet died at that one. Like you literally stopped and went like that. And then Essence Siphon, when an enemy dies within the aura, this I love. You regain 1d4 sorcery points. Once you use this, when you can't regain sorcery points in this way. I'm like, no, again, give it to everyone because until you use innate sorcery again, which I actually think is great though, because you still can use it more times. But gaining that many sorcery points, it's a little coffee lock situation here where you can be kind of like a little bit of spamming some sorcery points, which can be quite good.
But again, I just the visual image of you like sucking up like as you're going around, you're like sorcery points. But it gets into that whole idea. You know, in my head is what I think of like the rogues being like, oh, I'm going to take all the loot, I'm going to steal here. It's like I'm going to take all of the life.
Well, that's something I've been looking at is making it so that I'm doing some the only creatures I haven't done yet for Wraithborn are undead, like the super because it's run undead, but the ones that will like refuse to die. And one of them, I'm giving them the ability to suck your magical potential out of you, which I think is always evil, and build their own, which is an awful thing to do. But I'm like, I think that's something that this one could have done as well. Like it can like take the magical potential of other, like do that to gain sorcery points, because that's what sorcery points are. It's about the manipulation of the sort of aether, if you know what I mean, to draw in your magical potential. And I kind of like and I like how they've done it, like when they die, you're sort of you're basically powering your magic with their soul, which is kind of like cool, but also like, which is cool. But then like what would be awesome if it was like, if an enemy uses a magical attack on you, you reduce the damage by this amount and gain that as sorcery points, or gain a sorcery point for every 4 hit deep damage you take, or something like that.
It definitely gives me unlimited power.
Exactly,
like,
which is kind of what you want. Yeah,
I'm like, I love that. I think it's really fun. And then finally, level 18, Superior Defiler. You know, you were just a normal Defiler before, but now you're superior.
Yeah, I think they could have a better name than that.
I think, there's some names I'm saying like, oh, that's a shame. But it says you have perfected your ability to control and channel defiling magic. They love the word defiling, don't they? Granting you the following benefits. You have Fouled Soul, which means you have immunity to the poisoned and exhaustion conditions. Holy shit, you cannot be tired. That's great. I mean, they're going to absolutely take that away, but I'm just going like, that's pretty badass.
That's pretty badass.
And then furthered defilement, the size of your aura, it's 30 foot. In addition, enemies cannot regain hit points whilst in your aura.
Yes, love that.
Whoa,
I'm just standing right next to them. Yeah. Come on, Vecna, let's go.
It's like you're going to take my damage. You are not going to regain hit points, and you if you die, you're going to become my magic potential.
Yeah, it's good. It's
silly.
Really good.
So silly. Love it. I'm all in. You know what I mean?
We're going to have to fight over playing this class. That's what's going to happen.
We'll just be two liches like,
oops, all defilers.
Oops, all defilers. All it'll take is for one gladiator to come and like, cut us down, though, with various counterattacks.
We'll damage them. It's fine. Don't worry. They'll be damaged. They'll be defiled. They'll be contagioned. It is good. I think The thing I would have called it fetid soul instead of foul soul, because I think that sounds nicer. Personally, I would have said poisoned, diseased, and exhaustion, because I think disease is that is a condition, right? And I think that's being missed out in these. Or am I getting that mixed up?
I don't know. Maybe is this your Google's? I don't know actually, but I feel like there's another condition that could work for it, because I feel like poisoned is one thing, and then exhaustion is like a condition that's completely not one that we see. No, there's no diseased here. Conditions there's blinded, charmed, deafened, exhaustion, frightened, grappled, incapacitated, invisible, paralyzed, petrified, poisoned, prone, restrained, stunned, and unconscious.
No, there isn't disease. There are diseases, but there's no diseased. Okay, fine. I'm just getting mixed up then with my game.
No,
so that's fine.
All good. But I feel like you're poisoned. Maybe even like frightened, because you are like, I am beyond anything now.
Yeah.
And
not
maybe,
much is going to frighten you now.
Maybe I don't know. Maybe stunned is too much. But like I just like the idea that nothing scares you. Nothing could stop you. You know, because you are the superior Defile.
Last one.
Home stretch. So yes, the Sorcerer-King Patron for Warlocks. Herald tyrannical might and monstrous rulers. Your pack draws from the power of a monstrous tyrannical force akin to a demigod or an overwhelmingly powerful magic user. Through your pact, you herald this tyrant's interests in the world, channeling their influence and mind-bending psionic power. It's interesting, this one, again, from the designer notes, it talks about like how often warlocks, they have very powerful spells, but like, glass cannons. But here it talks about we want to create a subclass that is aimed at warlocks who desire to command the battlefield and intimidate their enemies to fight, and like really position themselves to it. So here, obviously, it has a handful of spells that are always prepared. There are some strong damage-dealing spells on this subclass list, but there's also several tactical spells allowing this warlock to cleverly manipulate the battlefield for their own benefit. So again, that's sort of setting up bits and pieces around the sort of encounter and then using it to your or your party's best advantage, which I just thought was really good. And it says here, as you might expect, this warlock interacts with a bunch of the frightened conditions between spells and subclass features. This warlock has a myriad of ways of terrifying a foe, and at higher levels, frightened creatures automatically fail saving throws against this warlock's magical commands. Ooh, that's good. I'm a big fan of, again, consent and all that sort of thing, but like I do kind of like the idea of like you say halt and any frightened person just does so, because yours just so terrifying as you come into it.
It's kind of a big one, isn't it, really, in that sense? It's requires probably putting some, as you said, feelers out beforehand on it. But and that's kind of what it is, isn't it? It's kind of focusing on a lot of like command, compelled duel, whole person, mind spike, wrathful smite, fear, sending, compulsion, staggering smite, dominate person, synaptic static being the standard spells that you have are like. But it's all just that, really, isn't it?
But on top of that, it has psionic casting, so you can cast from this table, from the Sorcerer-King spell table, you can do so without verbal or material components unless they are consumed by the spell or have a cost. So again, you don't have to speak; it's all through the mind. So you're Professor X thing. So like literally, you could say command, and you just in your mind go kneel, and they do so. Oh, very Thanos like finger snapping. I find horrible.
And that's the Tyrant's Herald bit, right?
That's just in spell casting. It just says, the Sorcerer-King spells, psionic casting is that you can do it without speaking or somatic. It's it's verbal or material components. So there you go.
You can do that all with the mind, which is cool. I think that makes sense. Yeah.
Level 3 is Tyrant's Herald. So you gain the following 2 benefits. You have Intimidating Presence, so gain proficiency in the Intimidation skill if you do not already have it. But then you also have Expertise in Intimidation. So you're just one scary bloke in a corner.
Super intimidating.
Prolonged eye contact, and then it says Voice of Tyranny, so you can cast command as a bonus action without expending a spell slot. You can do so a number of times equal to your charisma modifier, and you gain all uses on a long rest. Oh, horrible. Command is a fun spell.
There's a character in a book, there's Warhammer book called Eisenhorn, and in it they talk about like they're inquisitors, and they have this ability called the voice, which is they kind of use magical potential to sort of like will. They call it the will. That's it. Like they use their will to invoke people to do things. And he sort of says like he's more powerful than some people at it, but his ability is like more like in an intense situation, he can sort of like will someone to be like come out of cover. So he'll just say like something in the book will always be like, oh, I was in a firefight and it's all like neo-noir and I can't see them, and then I go like take a step like really quickly, and so then someone takes a step and so I get a shot in, you know, it's all like that. And it just makes me reminded, but it's kind of cool, like he uses this so many, it gets him out of so many situations. It's kind of funny, but it's kind of like, it was always a cool way because the way they sort of described it was this sort of like burst of will. Do you know what I mean? Of like, you're going to do this, like in your brain command, not like, because I know it says the command action, but I kind of like the idea is it says it's a psionic spike, and I kind of like that idea that it's so much, it's more like, because it is command itself, so it's in your, but maybe it's just non-verbal. It's definitely this kind of idea that you're just like, move, jump, you know, all these kind of things.
I was just looking because obviously command itself is an action to do, so already it's a bonus action, very cool. And I don't know, maybe it's always been like this and I've completely missed it, but it says choose the command from one of these options. So you have approach, drop, flee, grovel, halt. And I'm just there going like, oh, but what if you could be like, dance? You know, like I'm there going like, you give me one.
I thought
word.
That's what you could choose. Yeah, exactly.
I think you could. I think again maybe they just streamlined it, but I'm just there going like, no.
But I would suggest then, if you say halt as a bonus action in your action, you should then be able to gain advantage on the roll against them. Do you not think? Because you sort of said halt, bang bang, dead. Right?
So
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
no. So it says here, on its turn, the target doesn't move and takes no action or bonus action. So that's when that's what happens if it fails your command of halt. So yeah, I feel like it's not defending itself, right? Yeah. So I think any attacks against it could be critical.
An advantage, right? Yeah.
Advantage or critical, yeah.
Critical, yeah, exactly.
I'm just cruel. I'm just saying, like, kill.
It's a D20 flat straight. It's 20 out of 20. It's a critical hit.
Dead.
Decisive Edict. Your patron's power surges through you, allowing you to rally your allies and subjugate your enemies. When you cast a spell using a packed magic spell slot, you can cause profane power to erupt in 30-foot emanation originating from you. For each creature you see in the emanation, choose one of the following effects. Martial. The creature has advantage on attack rolls until the end of its next turn. Oppress. The creature must succeed in a wisdom saving throw against your spell save DC or have the frightened condition until the end of its next turn. Once you use a feature, don't get it till you do a short or long rest. You regain this feature when you use magical cunning. Yeah. I don't know.
I think it's interesting.
A lot of words, but not a lot.
I feel like, I don't know, I like the advantage. I think oppress should be disadvantage. I feel like because you're probably still fighting. Like frightened condition, obviously, you know, is good. All it does is like obviously they can't get closer to
away
you.
From you. Yeah.
Well, they can't move. They can move. They can't move away from you. The new frightened condition is just that you can't move closer. Because obviously the whole point. It's quite funny because frightened before they would move away and you're like, come back here. You're chasing after them to hit them. But I know what it's doing because it's like, oh, this is such a big display of power. But I like the idea that they're sort of seized up. So maybe even they're paralyzed for the turn or something like that.
That would be cool. Paralyzed with fear.
That you have that either creatures have advantage or everyone else has disadvantage to try and attack you.
I think they just have the frightened condition, full stop, and the paralyzed condition until the end of the next turn.
I like that.
Have like one turn of like paralyzed, and then
it goes, and then you have frightened.
And then you just have frightened continuously from then on.
That's quite fun. I'll be interested because often the conditions, they don't like stack like that, or they go straight away. So I like the idea of like, for one turn you're paralyzed, but you have an ongoing frightened condition until you have a long rest or something. Or
until you make a save. You can make the save at the end of every turn, maybe.
Which could
be a way like to rally yourself, or someone gives you something that there's a lot of things that undo frightened conditions.
Yes, like less restoration or something. Restoration,
or going back to your druid mate.
Yeah, he's like, help, preserve me. You have level 10.
Make the weird boggy terrain so I can be healthy and happy again.
Help. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, it's sucked into them.
Yeah, exactly.
You have level 10, Vindictive Rebuke. You learn to rebuff those who challenge you or the might of your patron. When an enemy hits you with an attack roll, you can take a reaction reaction, your favorite, to force an enemy to re-roll the d20, and they must use that new roll. If that reaction turns the attack roll into a miss, the triggering creature takes psychic damage equal to your Warlock level. And again, use this number a number of times equal to your charisma modifier, and you gain all of these when you finish a long rest. I like this one a lot. I think, again, it's that sort of like, no, you don't. And it's like, you just look at them. It's almost like you look at them as they come with you at the sword and you go, really? And they go, and they just take that charisma. Like, again, it's, it could be like, up to 5 or however much you obviously put into it. But like, it's every little helps, this sort of psychic damage as well. Oh.
It does. I think the last one is a little bit overpromised, underprovided, which is, it calls itself absolute tyranny. Wait a minute, people. You might expect with absolute tyranny that when you cast the command, you may also target, you're thinking, what, 10, 20, 100? No, one extra person within the spell's range. That's absolute tyranny.
But also, like, if you use a higher spell slot for commander, because I just got to hit, you affect one additional creature. So it's like, at most, if you, I don't know, for some reason went, level 9 commander, you go, okay, you have 10. It's like, no.
That's what I mean. It should be like, you could cast command to target one additional creature for every level you have in sorcery, in Warlock or whatever.
Yeah.
Or for your charisma modifier, equal to charisma modifier or whatever.
Equal to charisma modifier would be fun. I think that makes sense to me. And then it's
like maximum 5, I guess, then, isn't it?
Oh yeah. But then it says, additionally, a creature frightened by you automatically fails its saving throw against any command you cast. So I like that idea. It's cool. Just an automatic, especially at level 14, automatic. That's like, you just got to do what I say for the turn. I think that's great. So everyone, you're like, grovel.
Command isn't that great. It's not that great a spell at the end of the day. It's like, it's a lot riding on a pretty basic. I think there's too much riding on a very basic spell at the end of the day. If it was compulsion or
I was going to say maybe
person.
I was going to say either hold person or dominate person. That's what I was thinking.
Well, that's dominate person is quite a lot, but like dominate monster, which is a bit lower down.
Something to do with the domination stuff. Again,
bit more compelled duel would be kind of cool as well.
Compelled duel would be fun, actually. Yeah.
As a warlock, you get it. I mean, maybe if you're like Hexblade, I get it. But if you're not Hexblading it, like, are you going to be compelling duels here, left, right, and centre?
I guess I don't know. It's that sort of thing. It's like, do you want them to compel duel yourself, or maybe say you're a big gladiator person?
Yeah.
Can you
do that in compel duel? Can you force
no, it has to be you. It has to be you. But I like the idea of like, because you're setting up the battlefield. You're like, you know what, you two, why don't you fight?
That would be kind of cool.
Like you're setting up things.
A specific version of compel duel, which is you can compel them to duel a person of your choice, or even it's like wizard fight. We're fighting wizards. So compel duel with wizards.
Oh no, the Sorcerer-King! Quick, get out your defiled sorcery.
Come into my aura. Think your Sorcerer-King can handle my defilement?
Yeah, and then there's like the druid there going like, everyone calm down.
Themselves.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to find that cinematic. It's just the funniest thing. Anyway. Well, there you go. That's our 4 subclasses.
On that note.
On that bombshell, on that weed circle of preservation. That is the 4 subclasses that have been provided so far. The apocalyptic subclasses. We always say this every time we come back to D&D after a couple of like weeks or months off. I go, I've been very excited by this. Like, I feel like genuinely, because this is all, to me, fairly newish stuff.
Yeah.
So I feel hopeful.
Me too.
But again, we'll have to see.
They keep doing this to us.
They keep doing this to us. But yeah, we've yet to crack into the Forgotten Realms stuff that's come out for preview. So hopefully, maybe there'll be something in there, but who knows? Again, it's that this year's not been the year for wizards for various reasons.
No.
So it's like, is this a turning point?
This is a turning point. Yeah, I think there's signs of good things to come in this, I'd say. And I think there was in that horror one. It was just unfortunately packaged in something actually probably quite like, I don't know how they ended up in the end.
I don't know I don't think it was in the Stranger Things thing, but I think we just stupidly assumed it would be. Let me see if I can find. I'm going to have a quick look before we end to see if I can find the. I've not looked at it. Admittedly, I've not looked at the Stranger Things stuff. There we go. Welcome to the Hellfire Club. Choosing your character. No, it's just all like stories. There's no classes in it. So
where are these UAs gone then? Because
where are they?
I've revamped. It's happening.
It's happening.
So so there is some good stuff that's seeming to be coming out in the UAs. Let's just hope they turn into actual products that equal the potential that's in this. You know, I think I've said it a lot, and I haven't said it for a while because we haven't talked about it in a while. But I think the thing that's just been that I think is a shame is that it's clearly a smaller company than it ever was.
Smaller team and working on it. Yeah,
smaller team. And like, you know, the cost of creating these things is much higher, and they're not the only ones anymore. Whilst they were never the only ones, but they were, you know, one of 5 big companies, you know, doing things, and probably the only ones that were doing things 20, 30 years ago. And now we're in a completely different world. But, you know, you just think back to the heyday of when they were making 2E and TSR were churning out, you know, a different product for Planescape every 3 months, as well as a different product for Mystara and a different product for Dark Sun and Spelljammer, etc. It's kind of like, you just kind of feel like, I don't know what the community's doing at the moment in terms of like how that's working on D&D. I don't go on there enough, apart from when I go on there, I see the top 10 being exactly the same they were a year ago, if not 2 years ago. The solo GM's guide is still like number 1 or whatever, solo player's guide. You know, I'm not seeing anything like reaching up the charts in the D&D charts that are like, here's great content for these things. I don't think there's like good maybe I'm missing them, but there doesn't seem to be like great subsections of like, here's the Spelljammer stuff coming from these people, they're making really good products, there's really good Planescape stuff, upgrading it from 2E to 5E. I'm not seeing like those things really coming to the fore. And so you feel like there's a lot of pressure on them to do these things. And so I feel like what my point is that we get things like Planescape and it ends up being kind of a half-baked, lightweight, like rules like a lighter version of what we've all checked out with all the Planescape stuff we've done, and you're like the abundance and wealth and interest and so much stuff that's there, and not to say you can't go back to it. And so with this, I'm like, these are all really cool. I don't know how much there is in Dark Sun to take, so maybe it'll be fine as a 3-book thing or a 1-book thing. But, you know, Eberron, again, even the one we looked at before, felt lightweight. I was like, great, I'm getting into this now. This sounds really cool. You've given me 15 realms. What do I do next? Where's my guide to Cynics or whatever it is? Where's my guide to Wizard Land?
Siri, yes.
Siri. And where's my guide to Wizard Land with all the wizards flying about? You know,
Ooh, yes.
Yeah, and you know, it kind of. And great, I think the book's fine as a singular book. It's just like, I think it would always be nice if they followed up with a second book that was like, well, now here's one of these realms we're going to take into depth, or there's something, you know.
I agree. And again, I guess we'll find out when we eventually peel back our covers of the Faerun Forgotten Realms and see how
we're
those
find the same thing, to be honest.
Maybe. But I feel, again, like you said, we come back to it and we go, God, these seem fun. But my fear is that you could be like, and guess what? It was Dark Sun. Here are the subclasses. And we go, they've been they've been all the fun stuff. The hit die has been taken out because people didn't like it. I'm like, people are wrong. People are silly. But yeah, I feel a bit more positive towards the end of the year. So we'll see. And again, as far as I can tell, there hasn't been an announcement about like what's coming up for 2026 in terms of releases.
No, it normally happens around this time of year.
Yeah,
I remember, wasn't it? It was like,
no doubt. By the time this episode comes out, they will be like, these things, you idiots. So
100%. Yeah, 100%.
We'll see what happens. Yeah. But Hamilton, thank you so much for coming back with me into the UA, the Unearthed Arcana, into Apocalypse.
Apocalypse.
Where can we find your work? Any things you'd like to plug? Like, what are you up to, my friends?
Yes.
I know.
So, Theatre Macabre all over the internet. You can if you just search that, you will find it, or you'll find Christopher Lee's show from the 80s. One of the two. But,
I've never seen you and Christopher Lee in the same room, but mostly because I think he's passed away, has he not?
I think so, yes. I am. No, I won't try. Solomon. So, yes, you can find me doing that. I am busy. You can see, as I said, my Warhammer, the Old World RPG thing that we did, which you can find on there. Or you can find me and Fiona talking about it on there as well. Behind the game. And then Wraithborn, by the time this comes out, it will be on Pledgebox. So no longer you won't be able to late pledge anymore on the Kickstarter, but you'll be directed to a Pledgebox where you can buy and purchase things still for a short period of time. Probably by the time this comes out, it's all going to be starting to close up as orders are going out already. Dice have been ordered. GM Screen will be ordered this week. Over the Blood God reprints are getting ordered this week. I'm having a confusion about moving from a soft cover to a hard cover is causing my brain, even though it's like a page thing. Fiona, my brain just couldn't handle it yesterday. I was like talking to her, I was like, you have to tell me like I'm an idiot, right? Pretend
I'm a small child or an old woman.
I've never done this before.
Yeah.
Is this the cover page or is this the page? Like, what page
you don't want to get it wrong.
Because I've got this many pages and you're saying I need to figure out the thickness of I have to like do the artwork for the binding, right? And I have to get it right.
God.
And then like, you determine that by the number of pages you got times by this number with this bleed. And I'm like, okay, so I'm just saying, I think I've got it right, but here are the numbers I've made. Can you confirm?
God, it's worst algebra ever. No.
Exactly.
God,
so that's where I'm at the moment. But it's all fun and it's going well and things are getting out, starting to go, which is cool. It's all very exciting and that's everything for me. And whilst I'm talking about, figuring out complex geometries, trigonometries, all in the service of ordering and delivering, which is all about a simple question, not only about like the positioning of things, because that's not quite the word I'm looking for. It's not just position, it's kind of proto-position. It's sort of locuses between 2 points. And when you're trying to determine your positioning within the world and between 2 points, you might ask yourself one simple solitary singular word question.
Yes.
Where?
And the thing is, though, audience, you can't see Hamilton doing it. What I would think an Oscar-worthy performance of someone that's like, but what are the themes? Your hand gestures everywhere, eyes scrunched up as if like trying to in thought. A beautiful monologue. Communing with everything. Where I am so glad you asked. What Am I Rolling? It's a twice monthly tabletop RPG one-shot podcast, which does different RPG systems and interviews with game designers. We've come to the end of the Worldwide Wrestling backlog that I had, as I had to go there. We're going to have a few more interviews come out, and then we're going to go into my other backlog of solo games. We've got Alone Against the Static that will come out, which I very much enjoyed. It's a Call of Cthulhu game. And then hopefully, again, it's to give myself accountability, beginning of the new year or before the new year, we're going to have a game called My Late Father's Correspondence, which is like a letter writing game.
I've seen someone else talking about that.
Yeah, really good, really fun. And then we've got our version of The Zone, that annihilation type game, because that's one of my favorite games. And then hopefully at the beginning of the year, we're going to finally get Kuriko done, basically the Studio Ghibli-esque Kiki's Delivery Service, where you play a witch that goes to the magical city of Kuriko. I've not finished it yet. I need to sit down and do my little.
Kiki's Delivery Service is really good.
It's such a good one, and the book so far, I've only got like about a third into it, and I really enjoy it. But I just need to sit down, and because I'm trying to handwrite my journal entries as well rather than type. Oh, Hamilton, my hand hurts. My hand hurts. My handwriting is awful, and I'm just like, oh no, have I bitten off more than I can chew? But I'm determined to finish it with the handwriting.
Oh, cool. Well, that's awesome.
We'll see how that is. The other things are, as always, I'm all over the internet. You've got the RP Geeks, which is a nerdy TTRPG show, lots of different RPG systems on there as well, and fun stories. We've just done our D&D series of the year, so Mythic. So please go check that out. That was a lot of fun. Also, Podcast Zone is happening at this year's Dragon Meet. Hamilton will be there. I will be there in some form, capacity, maybe a bit tired. So we'll be there, so you can come check that out. That's all over the internet as well. And finally, Hamilton, it's out. I said it a couple of weeks ago that I promised it would be out if I committed to it and made myself accountable. But Last Line Rewind is finally out. Hooray! A new horror anthology TTRPG podcast which tells terrifying tales and scary stories through the medium of role-playing games. We've got, at time of recording, 2 of the free tapes out from the Creature Collection, which is Solemn Veil Homegrown and Mothership Whistle in the Dark. That Mothership stuff came in handy after all. And then we've got Candela Obscura happening next week.
Nice.
You can go check them out wherever you listen to podcasts, and I very much appreciate it. That's all my plugs done, all the projects. Blah, done.
Now you know where you are.
I know where. Oh, well.
Now you know where you are.
I know where to several places.
I know where I am. There you go. That's a new saying for you.
I know
Do
where
you
I
know
am.
where you are? Because I know where I am.
Oh, with all that out of the way, friends, thank you so much for listening. We'll be back next week with another episode of the D&D's Book Club. But until then, we'll see you on the flip side. Defile! Prepare!